Wow. That's all I can say right now. No introduction. No how you're doing, nothing like that. We just go straight into it. Breaking news: the Brooklyn Nets have required James Harden in a blockbuster trade, sending over Karis LeVert, Jared Allen, first round picks, and Taurean Prince. Jared Allen and Taurean Prince went to the Cavs. 4 first round picks went to the Rockets. Karis LeVert also went to the Rockets, and then got tossed like a thought to the Pacers in exchange for Oladipo. So as this all ends, the Nets have Harden. Oladipo is a Rocket. LeVert is a Pacer. Exum, I believe, is also a Rocket. And another player is a Rocket.
And Allen to the Cavs, I believe.
Yeah, Allen and Taurean Prince to the Cavs. Wow.
And Kurucs is to the Rockets.
Yeah, Kurucs to the Rockets. Yeah, that was the player I was talking about. Just wow. Just wow.
You see what he has done? Did you see what he has done?
Who?
You know who? You know what he has done?
Harden?
Yes.
All by saying that last night.
I'm gonna make you say your thoughts. Because it's crazy how we just talked about this last night. And wow.
Well, when you asked me last night, remember, it's funny how you asked me last night. Or early in the morning since we uploaded it. It's funny how you asked me, when do I think Harden will be traded? And I said that I think he will be traded by the end of the season because, it's a lot of packages going on. Well, this kind of shows you what I was thinking about. I didn't think it was going to happen, but this is around the extent of all the madness that had to happen for this trade to be down. And the trade, as of this recording, isn't even confirmed because the Cavs have to waive a player to make it sure, which they will. I'm pretty sure they will waive a player for all this. Yeah, for all this going down. This is just to the extent of all this to be happening just for Harden to get traded. And it's all started with his post-game conference, basically implying that this situation can't be fixed and I want to be traded. Not explicitly saying it, but saying it.
No, bro. No. This started the moment the last season ended. The moment the last season ended, this whole thing started with Harden. It's not just what he said last night. I'm going to get into that when it's my turn, but because I'm going to get into more deeply that. But what he said last night was disrespectful, but it did not just start just last night on his post-game comments. It started way back the moment the season ended. But go
on. Yeah, real quickly, I'll give my thoughts because I know you have a lot more to say than I want to say. I'm just so shocked. Of course, and then this still with the Nets, there's still so many things about Kyrie, and nobody knows what's going on with Kyrie, and then there's still more rumors coming out that he doesn't know, he doesn't like how Nash was being put in, him, KD's relationship being distant and all that, and it's just a whole bunch of madness going around in the league right now. So much happening. But first, let's talk about. I'll go in quickly about how this deal with Harden affects the Nets. I think pretty much they were championship contenders before. They're still champion contenders now.
They are, but in my opinion, no.
Wait. Say that. I'm gonna let you give your opinions. I'm just stating.
Yeah, go ahead.
Everything overall. Harden, we all know what Harden brings to the table. He's obviously one of the greatest offensive players of all time. He's still gonna be one of the greatest offensive players of all time. Being on this Nets team, him and KD, 2 of the greatest offensive players on one team. That's just crazy to think about.
Well, 3
and Kyrie, but I mean, Kyrie's not playing.
He's retiring.
I don't know if he's coming back.
He's retiring today.
It'll be funny. It'll be funny if he comes back tonight against the Knicks. That would be really funny. But all this happened. They lost Karis LeVert and Jared Allen, but I mean, for a value like James Harden, I guess you would have to give up those players for a value of James Harden's caliber.
Well, yeah, but yet you had to also give up the future.
Yes, 4 first-round picks. Yes, 4 first-round picks. You're right. It felt like the Nets just always love doing that. Looking back at the Celtics trade, they just love giving their picks away and their young talent away. That's why Tatum is a Celtic, by the way.
Yeah. While Kuzma's on the Lakers.
I mean, just wow. That's for the Nets side. Actually, no, I'm not even gonna talk about the Pacers and the Rockets yet. We're just gonna stick on the Nets right now. I can't even say if this is a. I have to see Kyrie's status. This all relies on him because then it kind of completes them. My stance on the Nets is still the same. They're championship contenders. I think chemistry is a big thing. I think everybody's just jumping immediately to that they are final, like they are immediate like champions. And then they bringing up how Lakers had that team. It was LeBron and AD and just role players. So if they can do that, then the Nets can do that. But yeah, the Lakers had chemistry. They had chemistry all around. They didn't have they didn't have a first year coach. Frank Vogel's been in the league. He's been to the conference finals before. He knows how to coach, and we saw that in the playoffs that he knows how to coach. It's all about chemistry, and chemistry is the most important thing to a team. If you have all that talent don't mean shit when you don't have chemistry.
Exactly.
That's why I don't think people understand that. Yes, that talent makes them championship contenders, but they already been championship contenders.
Mm-hmm.
So I wouldn't be surprised if they make it to the finals with this roster, because they were already scheduled to make it to the finals with the roster they had before. So, wow, this is all just madness going on.
Yeah,
within the league. But yeah, my stance on the Nets is still the same. Championship contenders, favorites to go to the finals, favorites to win the finals, just like they were before. Them in the Lakers meeting. I mean, same thing still applies. Just a crazy, crazy sequence. But I'm gonna leave it there. Cause I still don't know everything about Kyrie and how this is gonna work out in terms of chemistry and all that. So I'm gonna leave it there in terms of my stance. You have a lot to say. So now, Ja, I will let you take the floor. Take as much time as you want.
Well, let me just start off like the way you started off, right? With the Nets. Let me say this right now. They're still championship contenders by talent, yes. But just like the problems that you said before, coming into a culture that was already built, but yet everything is new. The whole landscape within that culture is new. So things change up. And everything is first year, like new people trying to make adjustments and everything. I can understand that. But I feel like with the Nets adding Harden, that's just too much. Because now you got to find a way to remind you got rid of LeVert, who looked really good coming off the bench. You're talking about you got rid of Jarrett Allen, who, even though you got DeAndre Jordan, Jarrett Allen brings more energy. DeAndre Jordan isn't what he used to be. Especially on the defensive end and that defensive presence, he brings it big time. So you got rid of that. And how are you going to mesh Kyrie, Harden, and look at KD is a different story because KD, he could do it both on and off the ball. So I don't know how. So I know he could fit well, but in terms of Kyrie and Harden, I do not know how those two are going to mesh well. And we already saw how Harden is when he plays with other ball dominant stars. It just don't really work out that well. The closest he came to it working out well is with Chris Paul, and that soured a year after they had the opportunity. And that's my stance on this. Yes, they're championship contenders, but I feel like they, in my opinion, in terms of their opportunity to win a chip, in terms of everything else that's going on, I feel like they took a downgrade. And that's no disrespect, but that's just me being honest, because it's too much. Because not only is chemistry, but it's just too much, and you're just not gonna, and you got to find a way to work around that. Having all three of them start in the same lineup, then you got to worry about touches. You got to worry about how this should be played out, how they're going to work off each other, whatsoever. It's just too much. It's just too much. And you trade away your future also. So it's just like I don't I don't know how else you're going to go about with that. But I guess this is good. But congrats to the Nets for getting Harden. I guess KD and Harden reunion. Kyrie finally gets to play with Harden. If he doesn't retire today. But yeah, good. Congratulations to Nets. Houston Rockets. Throw a parade today. Please throw a parade today. The darkness is finally over. And I'll tell you why. Harden has been like this since the end of the season. He has wanted out since the end of the season. And mind you, sorry, my nose ring came out. But as I was saying, Harden has wanted out for the end of the season. And it's just like, it's crazy to me because it's just like, you have been at Houston for 8 years, and I give you a lot of credit because obviously you brought them back into, you have resurrected this franchise back into what it was before.
I mean, yeah, it was a short like few years that Houston wasn't doing that well, and then
Exactly.
he came, and then yeah, it went up.
Exactly. You are the main reason they brought you from OKC and made them your main guy, and like you carried them to the playoffs each and every year. That's a major accomplishment. You're one of the best offensive players, especially you're the best guard two guard of our generation. And it's just like, you deserve a lot. But at the same time, I feel like the Rockets really forgot that the NBA is a business and focus solely much on Harden. And people have said it before. The late great Kobe Bryant said it before. He cannot win games with his play style. He cannot win game off of playing ISO ball. And the Rockets over the years, don't get me wrong, I feel like in my opinion, Dwight Howard kind of like, messed up his own opportunity along with the fact that he did have injuries. But give credit to our Rockets organization. They said Harden's our main guy, and we're going to try to pair him with a lot of talent. If you look throughout the years, they have paired him with a good amount of talent that was good enough to at least overtake the powerhouse Golden State, the so-called powerhouse Golden State Warriors, and go try to win a chip.
You're talking about the Warriors without KD and with KD, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
And yet, it feels like each and every star that has came in your grasp, when it did not work out, they're the ones who got pushed the blame onto. If you look at, again, Howard brought this upon himself and a little bit of his out of it, but that didn't work out. Then you bring in Chris Paul. It looked like it's about to work, but now that didn't work out. And now and then you have Westbrook. And even though don't get me wrong, because he suffered injuries right when the start of the playoffs happened, right?
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
Yes. And they changed up, mind you, they changed up the whole thing. They traded away Clint Capella. Their only big man that was on the team, just for the fact so you and Westbrook could fit with this so-called analytics time. And that didn't work out. And mind you, Westbrook even complained one time the fact that you came late to a film session just because of, I don't even know, because I guess you was getting your COVID test, in which Westbrook had to get irritated at him and say, start the film session. Like, nobody got time. So each and every star that has come in your grasp has taken whenever it didn't work out, they're the ones who were getting all the blame for it. But you know what it is though? Whenever you see a comment, let me say it. It's like you keep on seeing the same. Look, it works one time, but when the same common pattern keeps happening and happening again of the whatsoever problem it is, then you gotta look at it and say, oh wait, if we're constantly doing this and it's not working out, there has to be another problem here.
Mm-hmm.
You, James Harden, are the reason to why the Rockets are where they are now. They have sacrificed so much for you. Mind you, they forgot that the NBA is a business and you got to do what you got to do. But they have sacrificed so much for you just because you're their main guy. And when things didn't work out, they never put the blame on you. Now, it's your fault. And looking back at the moment from Chris Paul and Westbrook till now, that was your fault. You could not find a way to mesh well with those guys. And when things went bad, and mind you, people complained. I look, in my opinion, I thought I never saw you had a bad playoff performance, probably except for one. But people say you have had bad playoff performances before.
I've seen it. I've seen it multiple times.
And it's just like, oh my God. And it's just like nobody at this point, nobody's to blame but you. You have Wall. You have it's coming from my laptop.
Okay.
Yeah, that's why. So I can't stop that. But you have. Let me tell you something. What you said last night was highly disrespectful. That was highly disrespectful. To say that this team is not that good and there's nothing that could be done to fix it is highly disrespectful. And let me tell you why. Let me tell you why. If this was a young team, I wouldn't have said it was disrespectful. I want to kept my mouth because he's probably right. It's a young, talented team, but they're not ready yet. They're not ready yet. They're not good enough yet. But I'm not going to say that the situation can't be fixed. The situation can always be fixed. But here's who he's talking about. This is who he's talking about when he says they're not ready. They're not good. A John Wall, a DeMarcus Cousins, a Christian Wood, a Eric Gordon, a Daniel House who's been with the team for a good amount of time now. Mind you, they traded away Covington.
PJ Tucker.
PJ Tucker. Thank you. PJ Tucker. And who else?
Let me see. I think we're missing one more player.
Yeah, I think we're missing one more player. But look at how many. Look at mind you. Look at the guys I just named. Most of those guys are stars, talented, experienced stars,
Rising
rising stars, and really good veterans for that team that you just said. Who, mind you, those guys have been with you for Eric Gordon, Daniel House, PJ Tucker has been with you for almost 3 seasons now. And you said those guys are not ready to win. If it's I'm looking at specifically now, I'm looking at John Wall as DeMarcus Cousins, and I'm taking that as the full sign of disrespect for guys who have, because mind you, at one point John Wall was the best point guard in the league. Was one of the best point guards in the league. Well, still is, but he was in consideration for being top 3, and also he led. He was looking to take a Wizards team all the way deep into an Eastern Conference. And mind you, when Boogie left to Sacramento, what he started doing, he started winning. Even though injuries kind of got in the way, he started winning, right?
Mm-hmm.
Those are two of the greatest talent. Those are two of the greatest of the many greatest talents of our generation, who you just said are not ready to win. Mind you, they have not done nothing wrong to you. They have been optimistic about this whole situation that's going on in Houston. What you want to say?
To add on, because I was looking on my phone to see, because you said, if you use John Wall and DeMarcus Cousins, you take a disrespect. Well, I saw something earlier, and this is what I was looking up. With DeMarcus Cousins, actually said something.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
He said the disrespect started before any interview.
That's what he said. He said before any interview it started. Nobody on that team has done nothing wrong to him, and it's just like he just throwing them under the bus, basically. Nobody on that team did nothing wrong to you, and yet for you to come out and make a comment like that, mind you, about 2 established stars who already established themselves as great talents in this league, a rising star, and really good veterans, for you to make a statement like that is highly disrespectful. So, in my opinion, here, when looking at everything, the Rockets versus, when I'm looking at the Rockets situation and that situation, in my opinion, I'm going to look at this from both now in a long-term essence, and the Rockets have won all the way. They won all the way. Harden was getting out of hand. He was getting disrespectful. He knew his play style couldn't get. And nobody seemed to want to blame him until when you constantly keep seeing the same pattern and you got to look back and say this is a different problem. You obviously point to him as the main problem. He basically became what they call a cancer. He became a cancer for that whole organization by just doing this. And look what he done. He changed up the whole, let me not say whole landscape, but he changed up a good chunk of the landscape of the NBA with this. And the Rockets deserve better. The Rockets deserve better. Now they could get out of purgatory and they can move forward into more brighter and lighter times. So good job, Houston. I hope you're happy, Harden. Because if you don't win a chip now, this is where, before, you know how we always have the conversations about players who need chips to solidify whatsoever. Now with him doing this, I'm putting him in that mode. Now he's going to need to win a chip to solidify everything. After what he just done, after the way people have portrayed him prior to this situation and everything, now he's going to need a chip. I'm sorry for the long. I'm sorry for the long rant. I'm sorry for the long rant.
No. That was I'll let you cook. I'll let you cook. By all means. That was a strong, passionate take by you. I see a lot of things in what you were saying. You know, like him, he kind of brought this all upon himself. He made all those changes, you know, with all those trades and Russ getting traded and CP3 getting traded and all this happening. So, and then Cousins, you know, getting angry or kind of responding about that interview last night. And yeah, this is kind of a must win for him. Being on the Nets. Well, I mean, when you have KD, Kyrie, and Harden, it must be a must win.
Yeah.
But now with the situation that he had put himself in and him getting himself out of there, making it seem like everybody else is the problem. When, as you said, you know, you kind of stated, like, he is the problem.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if I believe that, but I know you strongly believe that now with everything that happened. So, yeah, this is an interesting situation they got in Brooklyn. And the Rockets, I feel like they got themselves out of a bad relationship, the toxic ex, or a toxic relationship. Because Harden clearly, with that interview, blatantly said, this can't be fixed, so trade me. You know, they didn't invite him to practice today.
And that was a good idea. I felt like DeMarcus Cousins, John Wall, two of the most gangster ball players in the league right now, would have violated him if the moment he came into the freaking facility. With the things that he just said in that interview, I would have most definitely felt like DeMarcus Cousins would have smacked him.
Well, hey, the Rockets now, they got 4 first-round picks. They got Oladipo in exchange for LeVert. This is a good situation they got for the future, for long term. Now, because now they got some good players. They got Wall, Oladipo, Christian Wood's a rising star. Oladipo is a star. I hope Cousins can try to get back into that form and stop, you know, getting teased and all that. Yeah. Of course, they got those first-round picks, which should be good for the future. 4 first-round picks should not be, you know, overlooked. I know the Thunder got like 20 of them. So 4, I know 4 in terms of them, and it might not be a lot, but because everyone else, that is a good amount. The Pacers got a great rising star in Karis LeVert, and I feel like he can bloom and blossom in Indiana. Who Indiana's already is a good team. They didn't need to make that trade.
No, he didn't. No.
But this was a good pickup for Indiana. Sabonis and, you know, Miles Turner.
Yeah.
And Oladipo's in Houston now. Brogdon. And now LeVert. I feel like LeVert can kind of take them to that next level.
Yeah.
By taking himself to that next level.
Yeah.
Because now there's no star ahead of him. You know, maybe Sabonis is the best player, but in terms of like creating his own shot and, you know, sharing the ball and all that, he doesn't need to take a back seat now. There's no Kyrie or KD.
Look, yeah, he's one of the. How old is he? Like 25?
He's young. He's young.
Yeah. He's the young guy with the most talent or the most potential. Like, you know, he this is green light for him. I know he's playing alongside Brogdon, but Brogdon doesn't care for the ball. He's even though he's not that even though he's not like a crazy shooter or anything, like he's a really good shooter in which he don't need the ball in his hands. And you could depend on him to do so much more without the ball in his hands also. So it's just like, you know, this is green light for you to do what you got to do and play really well alongside Turner and Sabonis, to be honest.
Yep. So I like both what Houston and what Indiana would done. I would have preferred for Houston to keep LeVert.
Yeah.
Because I think they could have built around LeVert and Christian Wood.
Yeah.
But Oladipo was not that bad himself.
It's not that bad.
Yeah.
The only thing is, it's just like, you know, Oladipo, even though, okay, this is still young, but like in regular terms, but in NBA sense, he's
a little older.
He's a little older. He's 28. He's in his prime. Oh, he's about to be 28. He's in his this is basically in his prime right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I know you're coming off an injury, but you're playing alongside John Wall, and you have to deal with that. And so you got to find a way to make that work. You just got to find a way to make that
Yeah,
work.
but John Wall and Bradley Beal did it, and
Yeah, yeah,
I think John Wall and Oladipo can do it as well.
yeah.
All right. Oh, and also Cavs got Jared Allen, as we said, and Taurean Prince, and now Jared Allen, alongside with Andre Drummond. I think that's a good kind of big man duo.
Yeah.
They got down there or up there in Cleveland.
Mm-hmm.
Well, actually, no, us, since we in Tri-State is down. Yeah. Down there in Cleveland, Colin Sexton and Darius Garland. I think that's a good pick that the Cavs got. That's a great little piece that they have, and I think that they can maybe Jared Allen. I never really seen him as a rising star. I think he's a good starting big man.
Yeah.
But maybe with this team, I think maybe he can take that next step, and it should be fun to watch him in Cleveland with that big man duo that they got along with Garland and Sexton.
Yeah, but this whole situation though, like overall, just kind of ruined my whole well, actually, no, I can still do the hot take right now.
What is your hot take?
My hot take is when well, it's not a hot take anymore because he's gone. But I still felt strongly that with Harden being off the team now, how this team is going to be way better than ever, in my opinion, in terms of this season specifically. Also, because if you watched, because Harden only played one preseason game, and I believe he did take a while to come back from them when the regular season did start too. How many games did he miss? Like two games, the first two games.
No, he played at Portland.
Oh, wait, that was their first regular season game, right?
Yeah, that was their first regular season game.
Okay. So I was wrong. My bad. But
they did beat Sacramento without him.
Yeah, but if you saw the way the Houston Rockets played when Harden did not play, they played more freely. They played more exuberant. They played more energy, and that's all mainly because of the leadership of John Wall, who has been highly pessimistic throughout this whole crisis of needing to deal with the fact of since he got traded that Harden don't want to be there. And they played they played so well. They can mesh well together. Wall, just like how you saw when Harden played in that Portland game, how him and Christian Wood was feeding off each other. Well, I feel like John Wall and Christian Wood could feed off each other way better than when he was playing with Harden. That the way, the movement, and especially again, John Wall's more of a playmaker. James Harden is, even though he's a playmaker, he's more of a scorer. John Wall's a dynamic playmaker who Christian Wood could feed off of. Now, Boogie Cousins don't need to worry about anything. If he could stay out of trouble, then he could go do what we used to seeing him do. And now you got Oladipo, you add him to the mesh, and then you add the fact that Eric Gordon could keep on getting his shots and everything. I feel like this team is way better without Harden in terms of chemistry, and they got talent
and long term. All right. Is there anything that you want to say about Kyrie and this situation that was going on with him?
Look, I want to apologize to you, man. I want to apologize to you. I know there's been a lot, and now I'm seeing things talking about distant. He didn't have no time to get full info about coaches coming or whatsoever and everything, and Kyrie got to just get back. He just got to get back. He got to stop all this madness, all this stuff and everything, and he just got to get back, man. You got no time for this, Kyrie. I know you called me out on it on and off the air, but we got no time for this. It's done with the BS. It's over. It's over.
The only thing is, I don't know what's going on in this personal situation, so that's why I'm not going to comment. But I just want, someone should know. In terms of the team, that's your family, and that's your job, and all that, and you got to communicate to them, the head coaches, staff, or a teammate, somebody.
Exactly.
You got to let them know what's going on. I don't care if the media knows or not, but if someone knows something, I don't think that any of the team knows.
Yeah, I don't know.
So that's just my whole situation about Kyrie, but hopefully we get some answers about him. But yeah, a crazy afternoon around the association, and the games haven't even happened yet. So we'll be back tomorrow, 12 p.m. like we always do, or unless any other news happens, which I don't think.
No, there's not gonna be any more news that's gonna happen.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
if any more news happen, we will talk about it tomorrow.
Yeah,
12 p.m. like we always do.
a game could get postponed. We don't know.
Yeah, a game. Speaking of that, a game already got postponed, which was the Suns and the Hawks. The Suns and the Hawks game, and hopefully, it's getting more. It's getting worse. It's getting worse and worse. And of course, George Hill with his COVID COVID remarks. So I don't know what the league has to do something to try to figure this out.
Exactly.
Otherwise, it might be bad. But all right, I think that's it. I think that's all we need to talk about in terms of breaking news and Harden, Oladipo, and LeVert and Allen, their trades. And we'll have to see what all 4 teams do in the future and see if their trades, work out for them.
Exactly.
All right. But for now, I guess I'll just keep it a little short with our outro. Is Woj calling you?
Yeah, it's Wojbomb. They keep Wojbombing.
All right. And I'm Evan.
And I'm Ja.
And this was the Mind of Basketball.
Breaking news.
Yep.